All right. So we're going to start here on the employer side where, on the morning of a fair, things will really begin. So employers will go to your employer interface. And of course, they'll need a username and password. So if there's someone who's used your system before or were the registering contact, then they'll have that information. If they were the rep, right, the second or third or fourth person coming to the fair, that registering contact put in the information for them, they'll want to come to your site the morning of the fair, the day before the fair, whenever they want to kind of get set up and do their research. They'll want to come to your employer page and just hit forgot password. That'll generate that initial password for them so they can create their password and then log in immediately. All right. Once they sign in, I'm sure you're used to seeing this, right? I'm sure for most of you, you have your career fairs here on the right, as we do in our demo site. But probably the simplest way is to inform them to click on career fairs under events on their left-hand menu. And then they're going to see those fairs that are happening. If they've used our system before, maybe, in a future fair, or if they're coming back after having taken a break in the afternoon, they could click view chats to go right to the chats, right to the student list. I'm actually going to click on registered because that's what you're going to want your employers to do the day of the fair. Kind of start here, let them see the overview of your fair. If they are the registering person and want to see the registration or the invoice, they can do that. If there are any jobs posted, they'd be able to see that from this screen. And then most importantly, they want to look at this student list. So get a sense of how many students have RSVP'd, what types of students. So you can see here, I'm seeing their majors, their class levels. For those students that included a resume, which we've been saying all along is so important, right? It's really valuable for employers to be able to see that resume. They could download resumes at this point. Another thing they can do from this list is if I click on advanced search, I can, of course, narrow this down if I'm just looking for seniors who are about to graduate, if I'm looking for master's level. But right here, students that have expressed interest, right? That's the students that while they were preparing for the fair, clicked the button and said, I'm an employer they have special interest in. So I found a few employers, a few students. I'm going to say select all. To send them an email. Now we have this nice invitation that we've put in your system that your employers can use. I'll tell you, I made mine a little bit more personal, so you might want to take a look at your, go back to your system messages and put in the word video chat. You'll find this email. It's the email that employers send to invite students. So I'm a pretty simple employer, so I'm not going to edit this at all, but they could. And I'm just going to send this. So this is telling students that I'm excited to see them. All right, so I've sent that out to the students who specifically expressed interest in me. All right, so once I've done that, as I said, from here, I could download, I could click generate publication and get the PDFs of their resumes. I could save this list and print it if I'm a paper kind of person, so I can kind of get ready. So once I've done all of that, I'm going to go back to overview and click on view chats. That's what's really going to open up my chat window and let me begin chatting with students. You can see right here, this is a really important part, designating whether I'm online or not. Everybody's going to start offline. Now, of course, I'm in my demo site, so this employer specifically has been, going back and forth. But the employers want to make sure they put themselves online when they're ready. You can put yourself busy if you just need to step away for a few minutes to take a phone call. If you put yourself on offline, you'll notice you'll get this notice saying that students will be notified if you go offline. Now, of course, if you've got two other reps here with you today, the queue is not going to go anywhere if you go offline. But if you're the last rep for your company and you try to go offline, you're going to get this warning letting you know that students are going to be notified that you're not accepting chats anymore. All right, I'm not going to go offline right now. I'm actually going to put myself online. Another important thing is, of course, my chat profile. I can see whether it was me that registered or someone else, what they said about me and who I am. This picture is actually coming from my profile down here on the left, so I could update that personal information if I want to do so. Down here is my video chat instructions. I'll certainly want to take a look at that. You can see that I can edit these instructions. This is a link to my Microsoft Teams meeting today, and this is my cell phone number. this is what students will see when I invite them to chat. So I want to make sure that's accurate. I can, want to make sure this is a hyperlink. That's another important thing, to make it as easy as possible for students to get to me. And of course, once the fair starts and students are attending, this is where I'm going to see those students. So you can see here, I've got 2 students in my line. I can view both of their resumes right now, see a little bit about them. If you'll notice that Start Chat is available here, but not here. And that's because I always have to take the next student in line, just like a real fair. The students are in line in a certain order, and I have to respect that. If there is more than one rep here with me today from my company, we're all seeing the same list. So I could grab Jill, and then Caleb would immediately become available to my colleague. Or if one of my colleagues grabs Jill, Caleb would immediately become available to me. You can see that after you get started, after you have a few, you've got this completed queue. Now, of course, again, at the beginning of a fair for a new employer, they won't have anyone here, but I've already done a few, so I've got a few students. If I click on Kelsey, I'm going to see what I said about Kelsey or what my colleague said about Kelsey, if it wasn't me that met with Kelsey. So we're going to be able to see those notes. Okay, so I'm going to click upcoming, get back to my queue here, and I'm ready to get started. So I'm going to click Start Chat to invite Jill to chat with me. At this moment, I haven't really, started chatting with her yet. She's gotten the invitation, but this countdown won't begin until Jill clicks on the invitation to actually come meet with me. So at this moment, of course, I better make sure I'm logged in my Teams meeting or whatever way I am doing a meeting with students. So here you go. Hello, everybody. So I would log into my Teams meeting and I would just wait for Jill to join me. At this point, Jill's gotten my link and she's, kind of preparing herself, I'm sure, getting all nervous. So she'll click and start talking to me. Once I'm done talking to Jill, I would dismiss Jill from my go-to meeting or my Teams link or wherever I was. Once Jill's gone, then I would go back to my interface and click End Chat. That's what's actually going to tell the system that I'm done talking to Jill. If you'll notice, the whole time I'm in Teams, I have access to this. So if I want to go back and look at Jill's resume, if I forgot to download it, I can grab it. All the while, of course, Jill's still seeing my camera's still on, I'm still talking to Jill. I could put these side by side on my screen if I want to do that, whatever makes sense. Okay, so as an employer, once I kind of, tell Jill farewell and dismiss her from my meeting, I'm going to click End Chat. You'll notice this clock didn't go down because, of course, Jill's not here to meet with me, so she didn't click on her end. This clock will start counting down as soon as Jill clicks in. When it gets to, I think, about 40 seconds, I, as an employer, going to get a little notice on my computer that says, you're almost out of time. I do have the opportunity to add 2 minutes. So, Jill's not going to see that. On Jill's side, she's just going to know that the countdown has gone to 0 and she's on bonus time at that point. Because, of course, as an employer, I don't know I'm actually going to talk to her for 2 minutes, right? So I don't want, I might only stay with her another 30 seconds, but it puts my timer back up another 2 minutes. And then at the end of that, I'll get another reminder. So the system is certainly encouraging people to stay on track and keep their minutes to the amount they suggested they wanted when they registered for the fair. So when I'm ready and I've, as I said, closed out with Jill, I'll click End Chat. At this point, I can I can put my feedback in. If I want to refer this to someone else, I can do so. I would put any notes in here. She's good for this job, she's good for that job, and then I would click Submit. At that moment, Jill then moves to my completed queue, and I can go back to the upcoming queue. I see no one else has grabbed Caleb, so I'm going to grab Caleb in the same process, right? Caleb now got my invitation. I'm going to go to my Teams meeting, which of course the whole time is on, right? So as soon as Caleb joins, he's seeing me. Even if I'm looking at something else, right? I know how that works. If, I've been using this stuff, as we all have for a while. So Caleb jumps in, Caleb and I talk, I go back. When I'm done, I click End Chat. And now I've cleared my queue. Hopefully more students will join. I don't have to put notes in. You can see I can just click Submit if I'm not interested in those notes. So at that point, you can see I've got no upcoming chats left. And I'm just waiting for someone else to join me. All right, now let me take you over to the student side. students will come to your interface and they'll log in. They'll come to events on your left-hand menu. They'll click on career fairs to see your current list of fairs. Go to, the job fair that they want to attend. Once they get to this event, if they have not RSVP'd, they will see that attend button at the top. So once you've RSVP'd, you're going to see this green bar that I'm seeing now because I RSVP'd earlier in the month for this fair. If I click on this little eye, I'm going to see what we call that information booth information from my career services office. So my career services office, when they set up the fair, can enter some information about, when they're going to be available and how to reach them. So they've got this separate go-to meeting that they have set up. So someone from the career services office all day long will be in that meeting. You can see here, in this case, I told my students I'd be available an hour before to 30 minutes after. And then also I said, here's a link to some common video conference. So, you also could put some more information in here for your students. Okay, so that's how a student might get in contact with you during the fair. If I click on employers, I'm going to see the list of employers that are attending. You can see I favorited everybody. I was here a few days ago. I was pretty excited about attending this fair. Everybody here is interesting to me. Hopefully your students won't do that, but I did it for purposes of the demo. But that's how a student says they're interested. Once I click on an employer, as I just did, you can see that this one does not have a rep online yet. So I can't kind of join their queue, but I could click on their group chat and see what's going on with group chat today. So if they had put their link in here, they're telling me they're going to be available every hour for 30 minutes. So that employer. So I'm going to go back and click on an employer that I know has lots of good information and that I want to chat with. So let me find that Flory employer that we were just pretending to be. So you can see here, they not only have the interested, but they've got the join queue button. So I could join the queue from right here, or I could click on Flower Company. So I'm going to see here if they have a group chat going. So this one's saying I'll be there the whole time, right? So I can jump into this company's group chat and ask them questions while I'm in their line. And then I also can join their queue, which I'm going to do. So I've now joined their queue. You can see I'm first in line. They're the company I got in line for first. But one of the benefits, of course, of a virtual fair that's different than a physical fair is that I can go get in other lines at the same time. So I'm also interested in Crystal Clear. I'm also, let's say, interested in rock translations. I'm going to put myself in that queue. And then while I'm waiting, so now I'm in two lines. And while I'm waiting, as we've said before, I could jump into somebody's group chat. I could, click on this GoToMeeting information, jump into her group chat and listen to her explanation or ask her some questions while I'm waiting to be called. Okay, so at this point, as a student, I'm doing my research, I'm getting ready. I've got, got my good clothes on, I've checked my background, and I'm just waiting to be, kind of to be tapped on the shoulder, so to speak. So let me pull that employer back up. So now we're back in that Flory Flower Company. And if you remember, Jack had cleared his queue. He'd seen everybody, but now Rebecca's here. So I'm actually going to move this out of the screen because I want you to see the student side. So I'm now, as you know, I'm logged in as a student and I'm, looking at things and doing things. And at this exact moment, Jack over there from Flory Flower Company hit my name. So I now get invited to join chat. So now as a student, if you notice, my clock has started to go down. So I know I had 5 minutes with this person and it's begun. So I better click here and join their Microsoft Teams. You can see that it's going to give me information. We're recommending as much as possible that students choose the online version so they don't have to download anything or have the app if they just continue on this browser. And that's an option for most types of video conference today. They won't have to download anything. They can just keep going. So at this point, I would, of course, and I'm not going to do it because, we've already seen what a video meeting looks like. But I would click this button and I would get into that employer's GoToMeeting. All the while, of course, I would have this here so I could see that counting down and know I'm getting to the end. If Jack and I have finished our conversation, and he might be over there moving papers around on his desk, but I'm nervous, so I'm going to hit this button quickly. Or if he hits it first, somebody will hit the button. So if I hit end chat, I'm just going to go back. I'm going to actually have Jack hit end chat, so you can see the employer has ended this chat. So that's what will happen if an employer ends the chat while the student's kind of still figuring out where they are. So at that point, I now have very similar to what the employer had, the ability to leave some notes for myself. Loved location, job seems boring. That's too bad, right? But at this point, right, I can now see in my past chat, I'm going to add any notes I want and click submit. At this point now, right, I'm in one chat, and I can start looking at other employers and click back on the employer button, see who else, see what other lines I want to join. I'm going to click on this blue star. I can go to his group chat, right? And, you know, click on his hyperlink and join his chat and give him a call. That doesn't work. And I can join his queue. So that's how the student interface works. We hope you'll see that, you know, it's pretty streamlined. It seems pretty simple. I hope that you agree with that, and we are excited about the opportunity. We've certainly put on a lot of test fairs ourselves these last couple weeks, so we've been poking and prodding and really think it works great. We've had lots of great connections, everything working well, and we're excited to get this into your hands. All right, thanks so much.